3 or 4 different times, is that when they do an estate sale like that, there's still some stuff that they need to move, like say they're fixing to move the house, or it's somebody that's been deceased, or they're fixing to sell the property. It gives them the opportunity to get everything cleaned out that they're normally probably going to have to haul out anyway. And as far as the way the ordinance is written, you're only allowed to have these sales twice a year and then 4 times apart. And
4 months apart?
4 months apart. Sorry, 4 months apart. So when you do that, the goal is for them to be able to move the stuff in a timely manner, but waiting 4 months down the road is going to put them beyond the time limits that they can get it up for sale or do whatever they need to do. So I researched back in our minutes, and 2 other occasions that we had this come up, and 2 other occasions the city ruled that it was going to be appropriate one time only to allow this. And that's what staff is recommending and requesting in this application to be the same as those others, because it's the same situation that's ongoing, is to allow them to have a garage sale to continue.
And the main thing to me, we're not, the number in a year, I think is good. I have no, like you say, anytime that I can recall that somebody's asked us in a situation like this, if they can just have that second one closer. I mean, if you want to, if it helps you better, it helps the town better. So
it's going to clean the house out and get a potential new owner in there, which to me is a lot different than a yard sale or a garage sale. Estate sale is clearing the house out, make it viable to be sold, and then have a potential new owner come in there. And it's not like, I understand the need for just 2 a year on the garage sale, because we had the problem of people having continual yard sales out here, but this is a different matter. And with that, I move for it.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the request by Tina Jones for a second estate sale of 5813 Leandro. Do you have any other discussion?
I was just going to affirm what you're saying, Dan, that this is, estate sales are clearly different than yard sale, and that's why I think we'll allow this.
With that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
I would like to bring something up, and until something affects you, you really know where you stand. But we've done this before. I would like to just go back and distinguish the difference between an estate sale and a yard sale. And with estate sale, allow, if needed, a garage sale, providing they haven't already had their limits for the year, so that people don't have to come up, because I'm fortunate in this situation, because it's not because the individual is deceased. It's because they no longer live in their home. But if you're facing a situation where a person is deceased and you only have one and they have to come before the body again, that's an added burden of somebody they shouldn't have to bear. So I think we could correct that for.
I would support that change, making a distinction for estate sales.
They're actually moving out or have moved out. To me, that makes the big difference. And if they're having a sale and they're going to stay there, they're just trying to thin things out and call it an estate sale.
Item number 9, discussion and our action on Article 8.
They only did a motion and a second.
No, we did.
They did.
You did?
Yeah. I was awake. Item number 9, discussion and our action on Article 8.03, noise of the River Rose Code of Ordinances as adopted, as amended, as requested by Councilmember Perry.
Last week, we had a person on Frontier Street had a noise issue, and when they read the ordinance, they put all the emphasis on the officer. He had total whatever. And other cities have decibel readings for certain times of the day, and it just seems, while we're not under the pressure of a bunch of zoning ordinances, that we look into this. maybe run it by our board or something to come up with something, a decibel value. And then plus Joe had a deal about maybe we write letters to the absentee owners who aren't keeping an eye on these rentals, keeping them quiet, but just something to look into. What do you?
Well, Steve mentioned that at the last one too, that as part of the specific instance on Frontier, that it would be good to make sure the owner, make sure the landlord knows, not
The
just.
problem in this situation was that it hadn't been reported to the police so that they could have records, so you can come for it if you want, but that was the limitation we thought that they had, and she actually hadn't.
One of the things that we're encountering in this instance is she has the ability through our ordinance to sign a complaint. If we show up and it's not, as the ordinance written and where it's egregious or it's an offense to a general person, the officer shows up and it's conversational music, it's not something that's a general nuisance. What it is it's a nuisance to that individual. At every juncture, they have the opportunity, and the officer gives them the opportunity to sign a complaint there, where they become the complainant. We run into the situation, there's probably half a dozen of these throughout the city where, one lady she said the hammering, they were building houses around her neighborhood, and even though it was within the guidelines of the ordinance, the hammering bothered her. And she was adamant, she actually signed 3 complaints, which we brought to court, let the judge make a ruling. I'll do whatever you want.
Well, I mean, I'm just asking.
I'll do whatever you guys want to do.
One person's noise, if you had a decibel level.
Well,
But then you have to read it.
Yeah, but they would, because you.
Our officers have not ever been there where the noise was anything louder than conversational tone music from the next door neighbors.
That's one of the questions I have, is it came up then, and it's come up before with a resident that I talked to, that there'd been some complaints, and it's kind of the issue where the police are on the way, so the radio's turned down. Is there not a way that you guys can kind of slide up quietly and hear what's really
We
going on?
don't, I mean, they wouldn't know the police were on the way. If I'm next door neighbors to you and I can hear the music through my house and I call from my house, I wait quietly. The police drive in, we roll our windows down, we drive up, we try to hear what's causing the disturbance. But in this specific instance, they've only heard conversational tone music. The guy's in the backyard barbecuing, he's got his radio on, but it's not egregious by any means, other than it is disturbing to that individual, who then has a right to sign a complaint and bring the citation to court. She actually followed through with that. They paid over $500 in fines for the violation she did sign a complaint on. There is a remedy. If someone is renting and they receive several $500 fines within a month period of time, rent makes it difficult. I mean, if there is a remedy for that.
Of course, I sent Marvin 5 or 6 other ordinances, and most ordinances, not most ordinances, but most ordinances that implicate decibels also have the same standard that we have, that would annoy a person of ordinary sensibilities. And that's, and I think the best ordinances have both, because loud music all day long would annoy a person of ordinary sensibilities, but that decibel level probably is not above what the ordinance would have to require, which would be like, something very loud.
That is one of the reasons
Yeah.
that I've heard talking to
Yeah.
colleagues is why they took decibel levels out, because then people read 50 decibels or 30 decibels or 20 decibels, and they say, well, my music's nowhere near that.
It's only 45, which
But
is
it is
loud.
intolerable to you.
Yeah.
So my understanding is they backed away from the decibel level unless it's a machinery or construction area, because loud music in my backyard may only be 20 decibels, but I can't sleep in my room because of it.
But it's just
Well, it could be the
distinguishing
music.
between a level. It's kind of like old hot rodder. I used to get pulled over because of my exhaust. But yet a Harley guy could drive by with his cut open. I'm kind of going, this isn't really fair. Without a measure,
It doesn't intentionally.
I know. But,
Right.
I mean, I've had to comply with this. I've had to fix it to comply with it.
And I think she even alluded to that. I think it was, she, first of all, said she had sensibilities.
Yeah.
But then she also alluded to other things that made me read between the lines and think it was the type of music as well. If it had been her favorite musician playing, it might not have been too loud.
Yeah.
What can you do about